Hi guys, and welcome to the Colorful Gardener. My name is Josh, and today I'm going to show you how I plant my roses. Alright guys, so I am in my herbaceous border and I have cleared out this huge area to plant more stuff. And as I'm clearing it out, I've got all these plants coming in from all these unboxing videos. I'll put some links in the bottom so you can check that out as well. The first plant I want to put in here is this wonderful rose. And this rose is easy on the eyes and has a beautiful purple flower. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right here in this spot. So let me just go over a little bit about roses. Roses are essentially a shrub and they're very easy to grow. I feel like there's this stigma around roses that they're very hard to grow, and essentially they're really easy. You just need to choose the right one for your garden. There's just a few steps you want to follow when you plant a rose. So first, find a great site with at least 6 hours of sun for your rose. Roses are sun-loving shrubs. They need at least 6 to 8 hours of sun to produce those great blooms you're looking for. Make sure your soil is well amended. You don't want to buy a $30 rose and put it in a 50-cent hole. That's a saying that a lot of rosarians use. You want to make sure that soil is really great for your rose's roots to get into. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to dig a hole twice the size of the pot. When I'm ever digging a hole in my garden, I like to use a bucket to make sure that extra soil that's coming out doesn't mess up my garden area. So I put it in a spare bucket I have, and it keeps the garden neat and tidy. Okay, so I've got the hole dug. Now it's time to add the soil. The soil I use is actually a mixture of my native and compost and a product I use called permatil. So to make this soil mixture I have here in my scoop, I use 2 buckets of native soil and then 2 buckets of compost and then a handful of permatil. And what I do is I mix all of these substances together to form this wonderful soil that I use in my garden. It has been super helpful for my plants. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll just add straight compost, straight Miracle-Gro soil, or they'll just add straight up native soil back to the hole that they're planting. What you need to do is, if you have red clay like me, or you have troublesome soil that you notice your plants aren't doing very well like sand, what you need to do is you need to add organic matter, which helps the soil structure for your plants. By adding permatil, it helps compacted soil and allows roots to move their way through the soil as well. Adding compost will improve soil structure, moisture, and providing food source for your microorganisms. The native soil is a great way to reuse the soil that you have, and it helps your plants readjust itself into the surrounding soil. If you use just compost or just potting soil, what's going to happen is if you have a heavy rain, that soil is going to wash away and you're going to be left with an empty hole and a bedraggled plant. So make sure you use this combination when you are planting any new plant in your garden. So I'm going to go ahead and put a layer of this wonderful compost mix that I've made. And I love using this ice scooper when I'm planting anything. I think it gets around plants much easier than a shovel would. So you could probably pick this up at any kitchen wholesale center or a local big box store or online. So what I do is I put the soil in the bottom first, and I very gently take the rose out. And I'm actually going to leave the tag on. This helps me identify the plant in my garden for coming years until I get a tag for it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set it right here in the center, and I want to make sure the top of the soil of the plant is the same level as the soil surrounding it. So that looks just right. And whenever you're planting something, take a second to look at it and make sure this is the direction you want it to face. I believe that every plant has a good looking side to it. And just gently work the soil around the plant. I'm not going to press down too hard. I'm just going to pat it gently around the rose just to tuck it in. and make sure that soil is around the roots. Now that the rose is happily inside of its new home, I'm gonna give it some slow release food. Now the slow release food I like to use is by Epsoma. This is plant tone. They do provide a rose tone, but this just is an all natural basic food meal for your plants. And this is a slow release fertilizer. With roses, you want to feed them slowly. You don't want to rush them, especially when they're young. You want to make sure those roots get really deep into the soil. And I'm going to put a layer of pine bark mulch. That's the choice of mulch I like to use in my garden. I don't do dyed, I don't do anything fancy, I do just basic pine bark mulch, sometimes hardwood mulch. Prefer pine bark mulch when I'm planting and putting something around the base of the plant. There we go, that should be good enough. Let's make sure that tag sticks above the mulch. Okay, so now I've been having a couple of days of rain, but whenever you plant something, you want to make sure you water it. Just because it's raining doesn't mean you get to take the chance to not water it. You want to always water your plants after you've planted it. All right guys, so we're on the last step, and what I like to do with any young new plants in my garden is I like to put a cage around them just to make sure that no wild animals like cats or rabbits, they're gonna get at my plants, or me. I'm very prone to step on my plants by accident, of course, or anybody that's walking through the garden could accidentally step on these young plants. And what I like to do is put a barrier around them to give them a fighting chance to grow in my garden. What I like to do is wrap the cage around the young plant, and then I just wire it back together. And what I like to do is run a stake through it. There we go. And so we have a nice cage around my young new rose, and this will keep it protected from anyone stepping on it, young children, wild animals, or your own pets. So that's what I like to do when I plant my roses. So now that I have this rose planted, I'm gonna show you a couple more roses that are growing in my garden. So this is gonna be like an impromptu garden tour of the front area and maybe in the back as well. So I'm just gonna show you a couple of things that are growing. Here's one, this is Carmela Fairy Tale, and I planted in front of this Cryptomeria globosa. I think it's gonna really brighten up in front of this Cryptomeria evergreen shrub, and I'm really excited about that. I got this rose from Chambly Nursery, and it's been doing really well. I've gotten a lot of new growth, slow growth. Again, you wanna make sure you wanna get that slow growth with any new roses that you're planting. So as I'm heading into fall, I'm gonna head into winter, these plants are gonna go dormant, and hopefully by spring, I'll be getting a flush of new flowers from these shrubs. I'm very excited. Here is All the Rage, and I got this one from Northland Rosarium, and it's been doing really well. It's got a couple of blooms, you can see right here. So I've been really excited about this rose. All the Rage has been quite a favorite of mine. I saw that at J.C. Ralston, and I'm really excited to see how well it's going to do here in the pastel garden. Now, this one is Rio Samba, and it's not one of the roses that I actually purchased from a mail-order nursery. I got this one from a local Lowe's, but I just wanted to show you guys, here is some great color in the jungle garden. Now this one right here is Strike It Rich, and it gives me wonderful orange flowers, and it's gonna go really well in the tropical garden. And this one I got from Northland Rosarium. It's been doing very well. It looks super healthy. It's been a very happy rose growing here in the tropical garden. Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching this video on how to grow roses, how to plant them, how to care for them, and just a little impromptu garden tour and looking at a couple roses as well. I'll be putting out new videos every week. I hope you guys have been enjoying this video. Make sure you share them with your friends, your gardening friends. And if you're new here, go ahead and consider subscribing and liking this video. My name is Josh, and you've been watching The Colorful Gardener.